All right, so we're 2 days in. Who are the biggest winners and losers of Strive? 1.5 patch, I guess it's called. Like 2.0 is coming. This is like season 4.5, 4.7, whatever you want to call it. We don't really know when the next patch is coming, so for better or worse, this is probably going to be it. What are the general gist of the impressions of this patch? Like, how is ranked? How is everything going? Well, the good news is like everyone's really loving ranked. Ranked has been a really big boost for the game. It's a lot easier to get matches now. I'm actually in queue right now. Unfortunately, at the very high ranks of Vanquisher, which is the highest rank, it's the master equivalent, you don't get matches super quick, but it's definitely not like that bad if you play during peak hours. And I think at lower elos, like I got matches like every 5 seconds. It's been very nice. Anyway, let's talk about the balance. Is the balance better? Yes, it's a lot better this patch. Is it good? All right, let's talk about it. Starting again. Okay, so I think we're just gonna go like the list. Some rules for this list, okay? So this is not gonna be a straight up who was the biggest like technical objective increase, right? Because if you want to do the objective increases, then it's all going to be the worst characters that got buffs, right? Basically, what I'm going to add is a little bit of a modifier. If you were the best character in the game, and you're still the best character in the game because you got nerfed so little, you're a big winner from this patch, right? If you are a top tier who got buffed, then you are a big winner. If you're a top tier that got about the same, then you're a winner too, right? Is this fine? Or would you guys want it to be different? Do you want it to be objective strength? Okay. I already know that the comments is going to be full of people saying, oh my god, how is X character the biggest winner? He had this objective nerf. But, everyone here, comment and flame the people taking this shit out of context. All right, so Soul. I would say Soul is same-ish. He did get really nerfed with the risk change. But it is really hard to kill him now. He has a lot of health and he's really good defense. One thing that's probably the biggest thing that we didn't realize is you get so many more chances because the damage is a lot lower now when you had a lot of risk previously. And so characters that had to block a lot but also have good defense are really, really strong now. Especially characters with good like metered reversals. There are not that many left, honestly. So having a good backdash BRC like Soul does, or a really good super still, like 100 meter super like May coming up, or just being like really good with the new YRC, backdash BRC, or just having like really good combos from your reversal mash. All these things like matter a lot. Soul's like good in a couple ways. But one of the weaknesses he has is he was kind of a character that didn't want to wall break like 7 times. He kind of wanted to kill you in a couple of hits before breaking. And his loop is not that strong. Everything he does not perfectly lead into Oki. And now that you get more chances, this means Soul returns to neutral more often. And Soul's neutral is probably his only real like kind of weak point. It's not like a massive weak point or anything. But he generally slight loses neutral and then wins on defense and offense. Red Wild Salt nerf also hurt. Yep. Let me pull up the. Does anyone have the changes? And I'll be able to pull them up during this. Kai is another big winner. His 2S buff is massive. While yes, Red Wild Salt was nerfed, he never really had insane Wild Salt pressure, honestly. And after the Fireball buffs, he's always had pretty good enders. he does not really mind more neutral. You know, more neutral for Kai is like, oh, I'm winning. His Faust is still broken. His 2 is now way better. And in general, the stun dipper buff is also massive. Stun dipper RC is somehow even better, which I think was the absolute worst thing to buff with him. The Kai Fireball buff is pretty nice too. There's some niche situations that I've seen where you can do meaty Fireball in 5D. In general, just like clearly better character. While everyone above him got worse, Kai got better. Kai also did not like do crazy risk cranking, or at least did not excel at it. Like he was fine at sometimes cranking your wrist, but that was mostly while using red wall assaults. Kai's more of a character that like he'll strike throw you a couple times. Like he'll do a couple strikes in your block, but he won't like, you know, do something crazy. If there's too many in the big winner, we're gonna move up and make a like biggest winner tier. Okay, Mei. Mei is a massive winner because she was already like top 5 level. Some people thought she was like top 10. Some thought top 5. But she's a massive winner because she technically got some buffs. And she is not nuked by the system changes. She did get some nerfs by the system changes. Red Wall Assault on block is a nerf for her, especially because she cannot confirm it. But she never had a good backdash PRC. Sorry. She never had a good super PRC. So that being gone doesn't really matter. But Mei has easily the best 100 meter reversal now. Like, if you have 100 meter, you get like a 4-way plus strike throw if you do super RC. And all of the versions kill you. Incredibly fucking broken. Like, I do not know why this is still in the game. Yes, it costs 100 meter, but also you get 100 meter for free with Mei. Round start hit into wall assault, into burst safe or burst mix up. Like, you can bait the burst and kill them for it from one hit. And then the next, even if you hit Mei, she's going to get 100 meter for free. I don't know why she got far slash less knockback. I don't know why 2S is less knockback and a stagger, so you get good combos. She got like a JK change, but that one, like, I don't know, it didn't seem noticeable. But again, she's not that much better, and she's actually less toxic in some ways, due to risk, like her building just less risk. However, if Mei gets YC now, she does not care. She just does a backdash and she's back to neutral where she wins. And I think the biggest thing is like the risk change does still hurt her. But yeah, like the reason why she's in big winner still is just because she's still like contender for second best character in the game now. She's incredibly good. And she was probably like number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8 before, and now she's number 2. So I can't put her any lower than biggest winner. Axel is a massive winner. His changes, like the 6K, make him do more damage. Let me pull up the changes real quick. I've not labbed this character too much, so you can take my opinion with a grain of salt, but I have played against him plenty, and I think Axel's like number 3 most common character in the Vanquisher rank or something. 2P comboing into Snail, which also has hard knockdown now, which means you get like an OTG into Rensen. Like 2P was already giga broken normal, and now it's like way better. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they like buffed the most toxic part of Axel, which is just like low, like low commit pokes that lead to hard knockdowns. And now like the Oki is way better. Axel's just a massive fucking winner from the systems too. You YRC Axel, okay, he's back to his win con, far range. He YRCs, might actually like it more now. Oh, you're far away, so now you have to get in on me again, right? The risk changes. Axel's never amazing at cranking risk. So the fact that Axel can block now and like not die when he gets opened up is massive. More resets to neutral is good for Axel. Yeah, just an overall massive dub. Massive dub. Is he the best character? No. He still has some problem issues. Characters like Chipp, like May, still, you know, like bring it to him. But overall, still a lot better. And he did lose some, you know, some of his most relevant best matchups did get better. Like Johnny is obviously a lot better now. Johnny Axel is probably horrible for Johnny now, honestly. Chipp is another massive winner. Massive winner. The 2D buff is insane. Like, you have to see this. So, Chipp's only weakness have been taken away. Before, Chipp was, I would say Chipp had two weaknesses, right? Not low health. Low health is not a weakness by itself. Bad risk reward is a weakness. If you have low health, it doesn't matter as long as you kill them as quickly as they kill you, right? And in some of the matchups, Chipp had good risk reward because he could avoid getting hit by, like, due to his speed, he could avoid getting hit by the biggest hits, right? He could make your opponent use K buttons. However, some K buttons just had really good conversions, and as the seasons went on, K button conversions got a lot better, so characters could generally, like, still have decent risk reward against Chipp when he was in neutral. That became a problem with some issues like Nago, Chaos. You know, he didn't do horribly against them, but like it kept him from being super oppressive. So he was basically bad against. His risk reward was not amazing, and he was bad against low profiles. These are the two weaknesses Chipp had. The first issue that happened was that when he got rope, he stopped being a low damage character. Chipp is now a like good conversions and then sometimes has crazy high damage spikes with rope. He also has like incredible Oki now, better block pressure, better neutral, just insanely strong character now. But he was still a little bit weak to low profiles. That was still something you could do. You could do a low button and it would beat your far slash. His 2D had a hurt box on startup, so you still beat him low. Well, what they did was they removed, that was the only change he got. They removed his hurt box on 2D. And we thought, okay, you know, they'll remove the hurt box. Well, that's usually just what they say, right? Like, maybe it's a tiny bit different. Shrunk forward before the startup. This seems shrunk. It was not shrunk. It was deleted. Look at this. Look at this. This is the old 2D. Look at the hurt box before the hitbox comes out. This was all hittable. Look at after. Like, his 2D now is just absurd. Gets a full wall break on counter hit. 30 total, so you can't whiff punish it. Chipp players are also masters of just mashing 5k 2k or 2k 2D on whiff too. So like even if they whiff the 2k and it doesn't connect on block, they get the 2D. And this is now infinitely better at beating or trading now. Hitting Chipp for this button or whiff punishing it are both incredibly hard. Since to whiff punish this, you have to walk back against Chipp, who's the fastest character, you know, and then you have to walk back and then somehow like not get hit by this low. And then whiff punish in an incredibly hard reaction, and then hope he also doesn't press one of those other non-whiff punish buttons, like 5k, 2k, far slash, 2s. Just insane. He really did not need this buff. You really did not need this buff because this in combination with rope just completely eradicates any weakness he has ever had. Chipp still doesn't have some of the strengths. He does not have armored pop buster, but he is a perfect character now. Essentially. So yeah. Next up, Potemkin. Potemkin ruled the last patch. his players didn't win a super major or anything, but everyone was basically in agreement by the end that Pot was 2 tiers above the next character. I saw like 7 tier lists in a row that all had Pot as like 2 tiers above the second best player. Problem is that unfortunately he got a lot of nerfs. The Pot players started downplaying. They have reduced Hammerfall. His Okiseme after Potemkin must slide is different now. Different. Making it easier opponents to respond. He takes a little bit more damage. 0.4 more. And then Mega Fist was reworked as a buff. He now gets a combo from Mega Fist. Forward. Slide Head no longer has armor. This is a nerf. And the Potemkin players started crying out. This is the worst move in the game. This is worse than Shuriken. This is worse than Sin Eat, etc. Hammerfall, reduced movement speed, shortened movement duration. This is apparently the reason why, you know, oh, he can't do Hammerfall. He can't do Oki after Popbuster or whatever. He can't do Super PRC. So, of course, they had to buff Flick, right? They had to buff Flick and Mega Fist as compensation, right? Now, the issue is this Hammerfall nerf barely matters. He still gets Oki from Popbuster. He still gets Oki from Slide Head unless it's completely full screen. And you don't use Slide Head much anyway now because he has other broken anti-projectile opponent tools. They didn't change how much meter he gets when getting hit. They didn't change so that he has Roundstar Oki with Popbuster. They didn't change Hammerfall enough. Like, it's barely different. If you do Karas, it's basically the same. They didn't change Gigantor at all. It's still by far the best move in the game. Like, you cannot... The move is 0 fucking counterplay for most characters, and you just wait for yourself to die. And it's a burst safe, like, combo ender that does a fuck ton of damage, converts, block string, neutral skip, defense, 7 cameras, 10 Xbox. Yeah. Another big change was that, Pot's YRC is bad now. He can't do YRC into Popbuster. Problem is that if you get YRC close, he still can. The pushback isn't big enough, and Kara Popbuster is just close enough. Like, far enough. The problem is that Pop was 2 tiers above the next character. He got nerfed. He did get some objective changes. But everyone else in the tier below him, basically, got nerfed way harder. And he was already way better than them. Additionally, the way Risk has changed now, let me pull it up again, is very curious. It means that you don't die. It means that you take less damage, right? Which means that when you take less damage, he gets more meter. And Pot has the best meter spends in the game. You know what the issue is with this risk rework? Look at this. So it might be like, oh, when you have 50 risk, a full combo with Soul did 223. And, you know, now in the new version, it only does 182. You know what the issue is? This little nefarious thing. The first hit does way more damage now in the next version. This is a big issue. Because this means Popbuster is scaled of risk now. Popbuster does significantly more damage when you have risk now. And his combos in general are just short enough to where his combos are not nerfed nearly as much as other characters that need to do like 10 hits, you know, in a combo to kill Potemkin. So yeah, it's bad, man. It's rough, bro. It's bad. It's bleak. Pod is unfortunately still the best character by far. And you can tell this by the fact that Pod players still say that he's top tier. And they were claiming he was mid tier last patch. Yep. Additionally, every single matchup that they claimed was bad for Pot, basically, is now much worse. Like, they got nerfed way harder. Characters like Johnny, characters like Ram got nerfed more than Pot did in many ways. He also had, like, you know, a really big change is that red Wild Assault and white Wild Assault got heavily nerfed, right? Turns out Pot has blue Wild Assaults. Blue Wild Assault got one nerf. Unscaled, like uncharged blue Wild Assault has worse blowback scaling. This just means that the combos, like if you combo it in the air, you drop, right, faster. Problem is, when Pot uses uncharged Wild Assault, he just does it on the ground into Pot Buster. And when he does it in the air, he has time to charge it. So he basically completely avoids the Wild Assault nerf. So everyone else, Johnny, Leo, May, you know, everyone else gets hit by this Wild Assault nerf for the most part. Whether they have white, like even blue, white, or red, they all get nerfed. And Pot does not at all. Yeah, I don't know why the hell Pot is the best character in the game. And then, in my opinion, this early on, and he's the best character. And if I quote Red Ditto, Arc World Tour winner, Evo second placer, he said, Pot is Jesus. No, wait, he's Jesus's dad. No one can compete, basically. And yeah. Nubenheimer, one of the best Pot mains in NA, tweeted recently, Pot is still the same strength, relatively to other characters. Yeah. Yeah. Some people will just put him as a winner or whatever. I still think that if you're top one, if you're the best character the game has ever seen, arguably, then you should be considered a big winner. Okay, next up we have a character that actually, okay, let's speed it up. This is taking forever. Another character that got hurt real bad. Faust might be one of the biggest losers. Unfortunately, Faust lost his Super PRC, which was very essential. The Faust buffs are not very big. However, I don't think he's that bad. Because Faust also got some big changes. So, like, the risk change is really good for Faust. Really, really good. Faust had to block a lot before, even though the Faust mains never did. They should have been. And in general, more Reese's or neutral, it means more Scarecrow PRC. It means more items thrown. It means more mini Faust. So he is one of the most nerfed characters, but he's not a massive loser. I can't call him the biggest loser. Because this is, after all, biggest. This is big winner. Millia. Millia is a winner. If she was better, she might be big winner. She didn't get that many buffs on the surface. Like, Artemis knocks down slight better Oki. And what's it called? S-Disc sends less far. But it turns out the S-Disc actually lets her do a lot more combos. A lot of her routes got better, which has always been one of Millia's issues. She's a blue Wild Assault character who doesn't get affected by the combo scaling nerf. She always built a lot of risk. Like, she had to block a lot, and the risk got giga cranked. But she never cranked the opponent's risk because her perfect thing is just 2K 2D and then left, right? So, in general, Millia mains are cheering. She's very much better. A lot of her bad matchups got worse, except for Pot. Yeah, big ups. Zato, I would say, is a big winner. Now, the other Zato players might hate me for this because the expectation was that he would be the biggest winner since he's the only one that got a new move and he was a bottom 3 character before. I think he's probably around here. Like he's a big winner because he went from bottom 3 to like maybe now he's like high tier, maybe he's mid tier. If he's low tier, he's not significantly worse than a lot of the other strong characters. I think the new move has some good uses. I think it's going to be a move that's going to take a while, and it's not going to be easy for everyone to use. It's one of those moves that's very hard to use. So this place, you know, this is my read on how he's going to be. If you ask me in a month, I'll probably have changed my opinion. Maybe he's the number one biggest winner, or maybe he's just like a big winner, right? Put him here for now, because I'm a no, I'll put him here. I'm a believer. I'll do this actually. I'm a believer, but not that much of a believer, you know. Ram is same-ish. She's not up. Some of the buff she got to 2D is just absolutely absurd. It's a massive change. Some of her nerfs matter. Wall assault on block, risk building, stuff like that. But she also, her jumping heavy, jumping flip. But she's still amazing in the air. She doesn't have a flaw whatsoever. You can't, like, it's not like Ram jumps and you're like, wow, this is easy to anti-air. No, like, you're still fighting for your life. Like, she's still the hardest character in the game to anti-air, probably. Her sword toss is plus 20 instead of plus 30. It is still amazing, right? Obviously, right? Yeah. But, you know, same-ish, not a big winner, not a big loser. Leo, I would also say same-ish. He was, you know, both these characters were top 5 before, and now they're still top 5. Incredibly, you know, like the nerfs do matter for Leo somewhat. Like he did build a lot of risk before, and it was hard to build a lot of risk on Leo before, right? Because he had DP, but it wasn't like insane or anything. But the nerfs to HDP don't honestly matter that much. The biggest nerf Leo got was just like Wild Assault on block is worse. H, like back turn H and on block does not matter that much. It's like worse, but you're still in an advantageous position. And you can also just choose to stay in back turn, which lets you, you know, go for another mix up. Incredibly good still. Doesn't really have a flaw you can exploit. Didn't need super POC. Has an amazing backdash POC. So like, it's just insanely good. Oh yeah, Rock is not plus from Ram, but it's better neutral. Nago is a winner. Not a massive winner, but he definitely rose in the tier list. A lot of people had him like lower top 10, so like 6 to 10 maybe. Now he's probably fighting for that number 2 spot, number 3 spot. HDP being gone, or like, Beyblade high-low being worse is definitely impactful, but 5H Oki being much better, letting him get close slash now on a lot of Okis. Massive buff. And the big thing is he never used Wall Assault, right? He never... I mean, he had it, but he never needed to use Wall Assault. So other characters getting less useful with Wall Assault, less uses with Wall Assault is a massive buff to him. And I think the big thing... with Nago is just like other characters got more worse than him. He's not much better. He's less cringe to fight. He's just slightly stronger now. So, you know, Nago players would probably try to downplay somehow, but don't listen to them. He's better. He's better. You know, there will be matchups where Nago does worse for sure. If Nago fights the low tier now, he'll do worse. But if he fights the best characters, he'll do better. Which ultimately matters more, you know? Geo is a winner. I don't think she's actually the biggest winner here. The buff she got to her charged up kick, like the revved, you know, like the improved kick, it's really big actually. You can't interrupt it from 5H. So It leaves her with another strong block string, a really good Oki. But in general, you know, other characters got worse. But not having wall assault on block is an issue for her because her block strings are kind of whatever in some spots. And the big thing is she really suffers from the risk change. She really hurts from this. You know, she usually does crank your risk, and then she eventually throws you, throw RCs, and does like a gazillion damage, or she eventually counter hits you, and then does like a combo video on you, 20 hits at the wall break. And unfortunately, that's a lot of hits, so it scales a lot. That's another thing I forgot to mention with Nago. Nago, he just does 6H sometimes, or close to 6H, and that still does a metric fuck ton with increased risk. Or Bite, right? Which also scales just like Pop Buster. Anji, I would say Anji is same-ish. He was top tier before, and he's top tier now. He did lose some stuff, like he was a good wild assault user and like on block. And the fish nerfs do hurt. You can kind of actually do some moves that are not like jump-ins and projectiles at least have used to him now. But he's so safe even when you block fish, and he doesn't have to do fish, which means it's a mix-up whether or not you want to get hit by it. If you do a K button, you still get punished by fish, which let him do left, right, you know, not left, right, butterfly Oki. I'm not really sure how to feel about risk affecting Chipp for characters that do chip damage on normals, like Nago, Geo, unsure on specific units. Yeah, I haven't thought about it much, so I can't really comment. Good point, though. Ino. I think Ino's about the same. She was like low top tier level, maybe top of high tier before, and I think she's about the same. She really benefits from like the risk change because she had to block a lot, but her mix-ups are so lethal that you never ended up blocking and getting your risk cranked. She never was a big wild assault on block user. I mean, she used it like everyone else, but she never needed it in the same way that, like, you know, Ram, Mage, Ani, Chipp did. Or like, sorry, not needed, but like used it quite as frequently. Or Leo, Soul, etc. I think the big thing for me with Ino is just like, we'll have to see how much her routes are different because of MLA and how much the 5H buff, which improves her whiff punishing, changes. Because, you know, Ino players never liked to whiff punish before, but maybe they can now, so we'll have to see. Goldlewis. Goldlewis is same-ish. He was objectively nerfed. Super PSC loss is big. The JD nerf matters. Problem is, drone is still the same. 2P still the same. Behemoths on the ground got massively buffed with the counter hit buff. Guard Crush into YRC, that's probably one of the big nerfs. That Goldlewis is one of the characters where like the fact that you can YRC during Guard Crush actually matters. Because yes, YRC is kind of shit now. Like it just pushes them away. But since Goldlewis does not have S tier neutral, it actually does matter that you can just like get him out for sure. And he can't really bait YRC that well on a lot of the behemoths. But yeah, the fact that other characters get nerfed harder, characters like Johnny who did well versus him, definitely helps him not get too much worse. But I would say he's like, he was maybe like, you know, top 5. Maybe he's like 5 to 10 now is my vibe. But like, he's the same-ish. It's hard to notice how much the risk change is gonna. I'm open to having this character go down to loser, but honestly, it's gonna take a while for me to understand, and it's gonna take the Goldlewis players a bit to learn how to play differently. Maybe, you know, not match every wake up, only like half of them. I also need to see like how Chipp is affected by, you know, and like with Guard Crush and Risk and stuff like that. Remains to be seen. Jacko. I would say Jacko is a winner, but not like a big one. Not like a big one. Her changes honestly do nothing. Like the explosion change does not seem very impactful right now. Maybe we'll find more stuff. But the big thing with Jacko is she's good in neutral. She's kind of a sonar, and sonars are in general better, right? A lot of her matchups that were super relevant are worse. A lot of her hardest matchups that were top tiers are now worse. But I think she actually suffers from the risk change that he's in bit. That like, oh, you can't like crank someone's wrist to 100 with Jacko and then like hit them once. That is a lot harder. She builds a lot less risk and benefits less from risk when she has it. I also think Jacko losing super PRC, even though most of the Jackos didn't do it, is still an objective nerf. So I'm going to include that. We'll have to see exactly how much, though. Jacko was not like super popular before and probably won't be super popular now. Chaos. Chaos is a big winner. He's a big winner. I don't think he's conversation for number 2 right now. I think even Jonathan said he wasn't. Jonathan Tene said he probably wasn't in the conversation for number 2. But he's close. I do think he's top 5, most likely. Still remains a little bit to be seen, but I personally think this character is really good now. The best he's been in quite a bit since season 3, most likely, outside of maybe 375. But in 375, he had a really bad match for Slayer and Johnny, in my opinion. So this one, he doesn't really have a Giga Doom matchup. Maybe Chipp now because the 2D buff, but nothing like extremely bad. The clone change is really interesting. It's definitely the best the move has ever been designed, where it's really high skill and you can use clone in a bunch of different ways. But it's not as impactful as clone used to be. Before, in 3.5, clone was super necessary because it just thought about wild assault and a lot of the neutral skip. But it was super expensive at the same time. And the resource war was so fucked back then that you really didn't want to spend the health on it. Now, clone costs like half of the health. So it's a lot more okay to spend meter on, spend health on. Some of the spawn things where you can spawn it behind them is really good. I was like really shocked by how much better it was for zoning though. Putting it ahead of you actually improves things massively when it comes to some of the zoning setups. Really makes the move click a little bit, like makes it feel like it was, oh, this is how they wanted the new clone that doesn't absorb a hit to work. Now it is kind of a block thing, like you can physically block from going backwards or from approaching you, depending on which situation you use. I will say though, I never liked using clone that much, even though this is the best version of clone. Best designed version, not best version. That was 1.0. And the 2S and 6S nerfs unfortunately make it so the Chaos is going to use more Curse, more backdash with the gun out, more J2K, more K button spam. I don't think that's how you want Chaos to play. I think Chaos is the most interesting when he actually plays some type of footsies with his S buttons. And unfortunately, 2S got an insanely big nerf to end lag. 6S is actually quite similar, in my opinion. It's worse, but it's not that much worse. But 2S nerf is massive. It went from one of the best normals to an okay one. We'll have to see how much we can adapt, but it's also much worse on block. I can't really say right away exactly how good he is. He could honestly be the second biggest winner of this patch, or he could just be kind of fine. I have to see also how the risk change works in for him. I think he benefits from the risk change because he can loop Oki anyway, and he had to block a lot before, but we'll have to see. I think he's a big winner, but I wouldn't quite put him at like number 2 conversation right now. So he was already very good last patch, so that's not why I'm putting him as the biggest winner. A lot of other people, that hate Chaos and whine about him, they're still not saying he got better. They're saying he got nerfed, but he should have been nerfed more. So in that sense, I feel like it feels right to not have him as the biggest winner, or the very top of the biggest winner. Baiken, in my opinion, is same-ish. She's good, not the best. Her nerf matters a little bit, but it's more of a, okay, well, this wasn't even that good before, and now it's more of a, she benefits from the fact that, like, Other characters got worse, but that's kind of it, honestly. She didn't get much better. But that's still a win-ish. You know, like she could have gone worse, but she's probably around the middle of the cast. Testament. Testament is a winner. Big win. Almost as the buffs were not like absurdly impactful. I actually thought the buffs would matter more. But Testament never had an amazing wild assault on block. It's a zoner, so benefits from all the neutral resets. However, they do lose super PRC, but like, she might be here. I don't know. Testament didn't really use super PRC either. That's a pretty common trend that like this incredibly broken mechanic that like had to be nerfed wasn't really that well used by a lot of the best characters at it. Anyway, I think they're better. YRC change is great for them. The risk change is great for them, but not like absurdly good is my impression right now. I still think they are among the worst characters in the game. Not like bad by any means, far from the worst, but like they were like maybe mid-tier before, and I think they're like upper mid-tier, maybe still mid-tier now. So that's why I don't have them in the biggest winner, even though their relative power actually went up quite a bit, because a lot of their worst matchups got a lot better for them. Bridget. Bridget is a same-ish, actually. I thought these buffs would be bigger. I actually think in many ways, Bridget didn't get as buffed as I thought she would by some of the system changes. And she does kind of struggle doing damage now. Bridget's thing was almost always that you made them block something and then you did a, mix up. At least half the time, right? And I think she just kind of lacks the damage in some of the matchups. Other characters that like does well versus Bridget, like Chipp, May, these characters got better as well. But she's probably borderline. She might be a low winner, honestly. She does still have blue wall assault. Yeah, no, she's probably here. She's also really good in neutral. She doesn't mind getting YRC'd much. Yeah, she's here. Her ward is a bit better. Sin is a loser. Not a big loser. He's a loser. Not every single hit leads to wall break. Only most. You might have to think a little bit before you do round start overhead, because it's only gonna instantly corner them and guard break them on a hit. It's not actually gonna wall break them for meterless. You might need a little meter. But he's also great in neutral, and he's extremely hard to kill now with the risk change. Gets a lot of usage for meter. Broken back to PRC. Just like a little bit, like definitely worse. But considering how good he was last patch, like top 10, I don't think he is, like the fact that he's still like high tier most likely, maybe bottom of top tier, is still like, that's a win to me. Sorry, that's not a massive loss to me. Bedman is about the same. The buffs are good, but like Bedman did crank risk, and that's nerfed, and also had a super PRC that none of them used. Overall, the buffs were nice, but not like game changing. I think, did Bedman lose health too? How much health did he? Yeah, he lost a little bit of health, not much, but a little bit. Asuka is a big win. Topple winner maybe. No, he's a big winner. I just thought about. Let me think. Who does well against Asuka? He might be here. Yeah, I think the buffs matter a decent bit. He's also blue wild assault user. He never he had to block a lot, so his risk went up, but he never built a lot of risk, right? Gets a lot of neutral reset. Like he's broken in neutral because if you leave him alone for 4 seconds, he wins the game. So you have to constantly rush him down. Johnny, a lot of other characters that did well versus him, like Leo and stuff like that. They always loved spending wild assault against him. This is a really big thing. This is also kind of a thing for Chaos and other zoners, because, but especially Asuka, because Asuka is so good against burst. Not only does he not mind being bursted on a lot of spots because he goes back to neutral, throws spells, does some more quarter circles, you're back to blocking, right? However, you can also just bait burst with Asuka. So a lot of the time versus Asuka, you want to use your burst in other ways that's not burst. But deflect shield sucks versus him. YC, like right now versus him, doesn't do much. 2, Wild Assaults was the main thing, right? Wild Assault was the main thing you spent bursting against Asuka. You would send that shit on block just so you could kill him before he got going. And now you can't send Wild Assault on block. So, yeah. Wild Assault RC was also a massive thing against Asuka. So yeah, I think he's a big winner, but not like the biggest. Johnny tore his ACL. He's Derrick Rose post torn ACL. Easily the biggest loser by far. Now, were the nerfs deserved? Yes, absolutely. Is he the only top tier that should have been massively nerfed? No. I think this is the big issue. Johnny feels like shit to play. And I didn't even want to play him regardless, but like he feels worse to pilot now than he did at launch when he came out and like couldn't cancel his jump. And I think at the end of the day, I'm always someone who's like, if you're gonna nerf someone, do it with numbers, do it with like make them still feel good to play. Don't make them feel like shit to play. Because a lot of people just play this game for vibes and for fun. And he can be bad, but now he's bad in a really cringe way where if he hits you, he can still kill you. But his movement looks like shit. And like a lot of the stuff just doesn't match the animations anymore. Imo Asuka is a big winner maybe, but not because system changes. I just think he benefits a lot from power level go down. Yeah, but the power level of system changes also go down. That like you're saying the same thing. But like I don't think you're realizing how good the system changes are too. Like YRC doesn't do anything against him. Wild Assault nerf. Wild Assault changes specifically help him a fuck ton. The buffs he got do matter. Like especially the reroll one matters a lot. These ones we'll have to see, like the test case 2 stuff. None of the Asukas are that good at using test case 2, but they do seem significant, but not amazing. But like, yeah, a lot of his worst matchups got significantly worse, and like the system mechanics are perfectly made for him. I don't think it's just the power level going on. I think it's legit. Like, I think it's legit. He also just got buffed by the system changes. You think the new free spell is better? I actually would assume that it was worse, because having a DP with hard knockdown is still important. Oh yeah, the reroll super, because you can also change test case stuff like that too. Yeah, I think Asuka is like when I play against him now, it's like, oh my god, this is just like 3.5 again. Like he just chucks spells perma, and I can't make him care. I cannot make him care. I think that's a really big thing. Okay, Elfelt's. I think Elfelt's about the same. The nerfs do matter, but her buff also matters a lot. But she might be slightly nerfed, you know, but not by that much. She also loops Oki incredibly well, so like, you know, she can keep her win con going even though she has to tear through more health. And she never built like crazy amount of risk anyway. But she did lose Super Piercy as well. Abba is a winner. Abba in general cares a lot about she really cared about Wild Assault. Other people use Wild Assault really well against her, like Red Wild Assault to lock her down when she was in a jealousy gauge, and also just to fix your block strings against regular Abba so she couldn't like RPS on mash. Was very important. The throw buff is huge for jealousy rage, and I think the overhead nerf will be fine eventually. I think people just don't know yet. Like, yeah, it's a nerf, but like, it's more, oh, they have to think while having like while being the best character a little bit more rather than it actually be a massive nerf. Slayer's the same, still like absurdly scrubby high tier. Absurdly scrubby. He got like overall as a character level, he got buffed, but the risk change does hurt him. He didn't lose Super PSC though, since he lost that earlier than everyone else due to his reversal losing Invul, and his back to PSC is broken. Dizzy is a big winner. Big winner. Ding, 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 ding. Does anyone have the Dizzy Far Slash? Oh my god, dude. Oh my fucking god. Wait. What? Nah, I might have to learn Dizzy. Okay, so this is previous Far Slash. This is the new Far Slash. What is that? Huh? 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 Bro. Yeah, you can do stuff like this now. Where you force people on wake up and it's just like it's safe to reversals because it's so disjointed. Let's check it too. Let's check 2S because 2S also got buffed, right? Yeah, bigger hurt box or hitbox. Okay, this doesn't look that big, but it is big because this means it hits round post round start now too. So no, not every DP clashes. Some of them just whiff, and some supers just whiff. Yeah, this is also like a 10 frame normal, right? Yeah, 10 frame, 30 total. Like, this move is insane now. Yeah, she's definitely like a big winner. She still went from like one of the worst characters to like pretty good, but yeah. I also never thought Dizzy was that bad last patch. I've been a big proponent of that. Like, Venom was terrible last patch. Dizzy was not that terrible. She was just the second worst character, which is not the same thing. Not the same thing. Losing Super PSC hurts though. But the Michael S sword is literally like 40 plus more frames, like on Knockdown. It's like insane now. How much more plus it is, and this move is like extremely active now. 36 active is insane. Venom is another big winner. But again, I'm not putting them as high as some of the other characters because I think all these three, I'll put them together. Wait, let me make a tier below. Much improved, but not top tier. I think these three are in, I think these three are in top tier. The reason I don't put Asuka here, I need to know more about Asuka, but Asuka was never this bad before. He was never close to this bad. Like, was the worst, much improved, but not top tier, right? And this list is specifically made for like relative to the previous strength, how good you are. This is not really linear. This is more descriptive, right? Unika is a winner, but not massively so. But characters who got nerfed. No, I think she's same-ish. I thought she was like top 10 before, and I think she's like she was 10 to 15 before, and I think she's 10 to 15 now. She does not like going to neutral more. That's like a big thing. But she didn't have, she didn't need like super POC before, and her back to POC is still amazing. Stunned is so broke. None of her nerfs mattered. Yeah, overall very good. Like big winner was good and stayed good, or was fine and got massively improved. And then we'll just add this about the same strength as the last patch. Down a tier. Down 2+. What's the logic on Ram? You can talk to Ditto. He's basically just the same. Or like the Ram changes doesn't actually change that much. She's amazing in neutral, so going back to neutral with YRC, or like the less damage, and going back to neutral after YC doesn't matter much. She's worse, but not by much. And the 2D buff is so big. The 2D buff is so fucking big. It's hard to rate Johnny right now. He has to be played in a different way. I don't think he's he's definitely not the worst character in the game. Lucy. I'll probably talk about Lucy next time. She is good. We don't know how good yet. She's weird. Her damage is like kind of opposite to others, where like it goes up as the match keeps going instead of down. All right, I think that's it. Let me know if you like it. Overall, this patch is a lot better, but it's just a shame Pot is still the best. It's going to be interesting to see which of these characters that go down a tier. How we're going to look at it later. Lucy and Big Winner, she was literally unplayable last patch. Maybe we do this. Maybe it'll look nicer like this, more readable. I think this is better, nicer to look at too. Overall, the game balance is pretty hard to judge now, man. Oh yeah, I saw Xiaohai clutch up too. Unk still got it. How old is Xiaohai? Inspirational. Easily one of the fighting game goats. I don't know, like, to me, Xiaohai has to easily be in the conversation for fighting game goat. I think he might be one of my front runners, honestly. He's good in so many games. Can win at the highest level in Street Fighter, which is arguably the most competitive game right now. Good at new games like Fatal Fury. Good at multiple games at the same time. Has a super long career of being good too. Xiao's 36. Feels like fighting game players, a lot of them peak during 36, right? Or like that type of age. How old is Goichi? He's 37 too, and he's also having like a legendary run right now.